All right.
All right.
Just like that,
Wow.
we're back on Ceox. 801. Come on, man.
Imagine, high quality, top production. Content you're only going to find here on Udicci.TV.
Riveting.
With incredible graphics.
Yes.
All right, so
definitely
so now when it's just you here, we're going to figure out. All right, we're going to be figuring out some more playing of things and getting that. But for now, we are on Ceox. Welcome to Ceox. It sort of looks like it should be some sort of a little Pac-Man, right? Like there's you kind of see the head going around, right? It's a Nefarian. Yeah. It's a Nefarian. We have the Nefarian. We can bring the Nefarian.
Do you want it bigger or smaller?
Let's switch it out for the Nefarian. Yeah, we'll go do the Nefarian for now.
Okay, hold on.
So what's the Nefarian? Well, it's a character. It's a character in the story of Udicci, and it's a future NFT character line or something like that. Man. Anyways, so on Ceox we talk about gameplay. We a big part of growing on blockchain is bringing it out there as a game, right? And one of the important thing is beyond it just making it a game is to actually build into utility, to make sure that what you're doing actually has value beyond perhaps just the game itself, but maybe the game is just kind of that fun on-ramp to understanding, or to learning, or to, maybe gathering education about blockchain in something, it's a more fun way, or however you would look at that. But
I cannot find it.
He cannot find the Nefarian. Something nefarious has happened.
Something nefarious
has happened.
Let's see.
At 8:30, we begin
one.
on Ceox. At 8:30, we begin Sports Talk with Sierra, and it's my impression that she'll be tuning in and listening. I feel like I hear something, but I don't know.
Hold on.
If okay, we can hear you. We can sort of hear you.
We've got to do some.
We've got to do a sound check. This is our new thing when people come in is to do a sound check, and you can either choose to sing a Celine Dion song while we do a sound check, or offer grand words of encouragement.
There were nights when the wind was so cold.
All right, perfect. All right, I think we've got the sound dialed in over here, and you can hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
All right. So, since you're just tuning in, you didn't really hear the conversation about the metaverse, did you?
No, I've been painting all day, and so now I'm finally done painting the living room, and I'm putting it back together right now.
Excellent. So to continue on with our conversation, at 8:30 we're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills. That's our 8:30 segment, and of course the entire theme tonight is go for the win. I want to let you know right now, I stand behind that call every day. It's that's just telling your team you go for the win. Look, the scoreboard may not have reflected a win at the end of the day, but this season is about winning a Super Bowl, not winning a particular play. You want to win more plays than you lose, but you want to make sure you keep playing. And tonight's Ceox theme built around that is, what was the name of it?
Wait a minute.
So the first one was, the goal remains, which is you stay focused on winning the Super Bowl.
It's go for the win.
And then, no. Well, I thought that was the theme.
Yeah, that's the theme of the whole. For Ceox,
right? For Ceox, yeah. You can see how top quality.
We are on top
of it, right there.
Yes.
If you've ever listened to a Glenn Beck or these people who make a couple dollars and have maybe 5 more viewers than we do, they just say things like, "Hey, pull up this," or what is it going on here? And
I have no idea.
What do you mean?
What was it?
The goal remains. Somehow that became the land. Okay. So apparently we don't know the name of tonight's show, but that's okay. It'll come to us. And in the end, it is just about getting up. It's staying the course. Staying the course. Or staying on track.
Staying on track. Something like that.
That's the idea with Ceox. So about 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago now, I introduced the idea of Ceox 60, which is where I'm going to use Ceox to kind of be a little bit more accountable to building my own personal independent brand. Right, that's kind of Ceox, because that's kind of what all this is about, is us kind of creating our own identities and, monetizing them, unfortunately. But that's what we do with our lives, right? We monetize it, and we either choose where or that value that we're truly going to kind of put into our lives. Or somebody else does. They kind of decide that. So, staying on track means that we're staying with that Ceox 60 and kind of updating some of that accountability. And then we're going to continue on talking about the universal scene displays, because it's kind of really cool about it, what it means. And if we've got the universal scene display thing, I see that you had Nefarians ready to go.
Well, yeah.
It's not quite, though. It's got to be sent back behind the thing. Okay, well... Well, all right. We'll get the Nefarians ready after our little break here. And, so when we come back, again, just some fun talk about really using games and about where all of this is going. And it's not about that it's going to be going there in 100 years or 10 years. It's like we're already there kind of stuff. And it's fun stuff. So anyways, we'll be back here in just a minute. We're going to take a short break as we continue to work on our formats. And be right back. Top notch top notch.
There we go.
I mean, does it get any better than that?
Look at that.
That's like Hollywood's got nothing on us.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing.
Give me 5 minutes, I'll take care of anything.
Look at this. This is like, I mean, $1 billion budgets can't touch this.
Awesome.
They can't.
Kind of cool stuff though. That does look pretty cool.
Well, it is fun,
Man,
right? And it's kind of like
it's got
what we're
that
saying. Like,
fuzzy-
ooh, like we got this thing. So what's a metaverse? It's another universe that you can choose to exist in, right? It's a designed universe. It's the Matrix if you choose it, if that's what you chose. If you want to view it through Oculus or any of your VR goggles, like what you design and what you live inside of that that world, that's a universe. That's part of the metaverse where you can travel, sort of like the internet. You can go visit other people's universes where they kind of let you in, and all of that, of course, is being kind of built on NFTs. So very, very interesting, that side of things. Then we get into like, where is all of this going? And this is where I learn about this universal scene description, or I may be explaining this poorly, but effectively, the software which helps create like Pixar's animations, they open sourced, and it's kind of available to everybody now. And I read it as it's like HTML for the metaverse. So effectively, it's your markup language, your design language, and any sort of interactions that you would want to create in, just think like Toy Story. If you're going to be walking around a toy store or something like that, and you wanted to interact with something, you could, and that would be inside of your metaverse. And apparently this universal scene descriptor is a thing that's available right now. So anybody who was a reasonably, I mean, yeah, you've got to be some real talent to get that high quality animation, right? But as people begin building that high quality animation and putting it out as an NFT, you get to bring that into your metaverse, kind of to make your metaverse, it's sort of like an interior designer. I guess that's kind of like what's going to happen. These kind of 3D designs will be like an interior designer, and like and it's like we need to start wrapping our minds around, not like that if that's going to happen, but that is literally happening right now.
Well, and when you look at a lot of the gaming that's out there right now, there's a lot of games that modders contribute to, whether it be maps or objects and elements that are used as part of the system. There are tons and tons of these different assets. They call them, they call them assets, and these assets that then become available for, once you have a crosshair, from a gun, you reuse that crosshair 1,000 times in 1,000 different games. Whether you're a hunting game or a first-person shooter game or a police officer game. You've got that same crosshair, and now all of a sudden you get into reuse and some of the better ones, better effects on it.
And then these will be antiques.
Yes, absolutely.
Like right, they'll be digital antiques. Which, seriously, do we care? The answer, yeah, because we've been actually trying to archive our digital world for as long as mankind's been trying to go, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
Digital, at least you could argue, is literally when you're writing, that's digital. You're creating an expression of your life or something.
Yep.
Anyways, it's some very interesting stuff, and of course that means games are a big part of all of that. And as you're getting ready to get on to a blockchain, very often you kind of design it around a game. Like I said, something that you can learn from. And now we're not trying to say that we're going to build the metaverse or start building for the metaverse tomorrow or anytime too soon, but that's kind of the vision you have to have in your head when you're starting to think about what is it we're designing. So we're designing a new game called Shmub, and Shmub is basically I guess an interactive media game, and we'll talk a little bit about that when. See, are you just still listening, or are you available for contribution? Okay. Sierra seems to be maybe just listening, or maybe we've lost her.
She's muted. I see.
She's muted, so that's fine. So she's still painting, and we'll go on with that one. So I've got to figure out anyways how to like share this shmub here. So do you think I should just go through as a input? I think so.
Sure, that would be all right. We can we can throw you in on the guest 2 feed.
Go for the win. Highly secure password, by the way.
Yeah.
Highly secure password. It is go for the win. The idea here is that if you're paying attention, then
join us
good.
on video.ninja.
All right. So I want
Udicci.
to select a screen to share. I want to do a Chrome tab and come over here to Canva and open this one up.
Oh, you need to kill the audio. Sounds like the
audio. No more audio. Wait. Testing. Okay, so hopefully I'm not getting double audio. Sierra can let us know if we do that.
For the designs, right?
For the designs.
Hold on a minute.
All right.
Don't need it that big, but
and I would like to present it. Okay. So, what happened? This is not getting shared.
You probably have to change when you're sharing.
Nope. It says, I'm like on my end, it says stop sharing, but it's like not. Okay. Let's just kind of get out of here. I don't know what's being shared though. Okay. Here we go.
Ah. Oh, I see Schmub.
Okay.
Hold on a minute. Hold on.
There we go.
Oh.
And we'll be ready with Schmub
Just
when we come back.
Oh, you're going to go to break?
Yeah, time to go to break here. And when we come back, we'll be talking about our gameplay here on Udicci. Schmub, the interactive media where you make a mess. Or you begin by making a mess. Or you just keep talking in hopes that somebody else joins the conversation. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
Ready. Well, we're ready because
okay.
we're coming back in.
We're back.
I hope you're ready.
It is the
Are you ready?
Schmub. It is the schmub.
Here we go.
Chili's. Wait, are you there?
I think she... Oh, there she is.
Okay. Can you see the video?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear
now
you.
the audio is weird on my end.
You can hear us. I think it's showing us as muted. Oh, no, that's me as muted.
No, that's you as muted. You can hear us, right, Sierra? She's muted.
She's unmuted.
Now, is she unmuted? No.
Wait.
You're still showing Schmub. You're muted.
I'm muted.
She's muted, and her video is off.
All right. Well,
there she is.
We got video.
We got video.
We have no audio.
Oh, hold on. I gotta get back over here because we gotta get.
Well, no, she's got no audio.
She's got no audio.
Okay, I'm back. I have audio now. It was
okay.
I'm here.
All right.
I'm in a new area. Usually I'm on the couch, but the couches are not in order.
Okay, so are you ready to schmub? Ready to schmub. All right, hold on. Go ahead. Is that water?
Yeah, it's water.
Go ahead and schmub. You schmubbed. So what would that be? That would be a schmub where you just made a mess, and we cut that up, and that's a little NFT that we put into the schmub game. And what do you do in the schmub game? Oh, wait. What do we have there?
A napkin to clean it up with.
A napkin to clean it up with. Do we give additional points if your video includes cleaning?
I think... I feel like you need a reaction first.
Oh, a reaction.
So, and then you clean it up.
Okay, so we need make a mess.
Someone sees a reaction.
Share a reaction. And clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. I'm going to actually catch some notes here while we're doing that. Let's see here. That's gameplay. Schmub is make a mess. Share response? Or share reaction?
Yeah, share reaction. And then
clean it up. All right. See how easy it is to make a game? How fun it is? All right. So, hey, let's go through here for a second. So, some ideas. I just all I really did here is went through and put a bunch of different fonts together. And then at the end, I kind of threw something together that was a fun. In my head, I had like this, like one of those card games that we might have got back in the day, and it's design. But let's see if as I go through these, if any of these meet your fancy at all. Okay. I'll go through, and then we can come back and you can say, yeah, that one did or that one did not, and you'll start to see that there's obviously some that are not it at all, and some that were like, seriously, why'd you even do that? And then you're like,
number one.
Huh?
Number one.
So this one, number one?
That one. So A on page one.
On page one.
Wait, what are we on? I'm on, I see.
Yeah, you went through faster than she could see.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Let's do this again. You ready?
She's
ready?
Looking at our video.
This is page one.
Is it the bubble letters? Is page one? Okay, no, none of those.
Okay. Page two. Oops, sorry, it went to three. Page two.
No, I don't think any of those.
Three.
Number 2 on 3. So 3B.
Number 2 on 3.
Number 2 on 4.
Number 2 on 4.
Number 1 on 5.
Number 1 on 5.
And number 1 on 6.
Ooh, number 1 on 6.
None. Maybe number 2 on this one.
And that's the one I kind of like threw together.
Yeah, that's cute.
So, you think we can choose from those fonts, or do you want to keep going a little bit different direction?
Work.
Huh?
Those are good. Those are good fonts.
All right. So what I'll do is I'll send this to you, right? And we can we can play with some different colors or whatever else. But so this will be sort of our cover for the game, and we'll start putting some rules behind this, right? And then we'll mint it, and that'll be the NFT that kind of guides the game as far as that goes.
Okay.
Alrighty, so I gotta send to Sierra. Send shmub file to Sierra. Alright. And are you ready to get into the more challenging conversation of the night?
Yeah.
Okay, Sierra, take it away. Do you go for the win, or do you kick the field goal?
Okay, before we start, I think we should do a show on having the right tools, because I spent way too much time today trying to get the TV bracket off the wall because I did not have the right tools. And so when I asked someone for the right tools, it went back on significantly easier. Anyways, that's for another.
No, that's actually one of the things during, like, when I used to do all of that training. Early on, one of the phrases that I learned and I always held on to, and they attribute the story to like Thomas or Jefferson and Adams or somebody. I don't remember who it was, but he said, always choose the best tool in the shed for the job.
Yeah.
Right? It's just,
sometimes
that's exactly
okay
right. When you have the right tools.
Yeah.
And the right tool for that big wall of yours is that spray thing we have.
Well, I'm already done painting the walls, so at least the living room walls. But I'm talking about, like the bracket that the TV's on?
Yep.
The people that installed it did a really good job, because these things, it was stuck. So all I had was this wrench, and I'm every screw, I'm
well, but, I mean, not for anything. So your house is what, 10 years old?
Almost, yeah.
Right. So 10 years ago, I mean, think about the ones that we had when you had the plasma TVs. Those things were anchored in the wall that they would have been standing after the house had gone down, right? But those things were so heavy back then. Yeah. Now the TVs are nothing. We don't need anything like that.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's, I guess, maybe for another night. Having the right tools, work smarter, not harder. So, anyways, so the Buffalo Bills played on Monday Night Football this past week, and I think arguably were deservedly favored in the game. So going back to gambling, they were favored pretty considerably for being a road team. And up to this point, the defense had just been lights out, top in the league, just crushing every metric that there is. And I mean, that was a game they should have won, I think. And ultimately, they ended up losing by 3 points. At the very end of the game, the Buffalo Bills, the kickoff went to the Bills, I think, with 3 minutes left in the game. And so that kickoff got returned for a touchdown, but there was a holding call, which for me, I'm okay, maybe that's for the better, because our defense wasn't stopping anything. So we can at least put the ball in Josh's hands. So Josh Allen has a pretty he has a pretty killer instinct in him. He's got like ice in his veins. I think he knows how to manage a situation like that, and he's proved it in the past. And now this is 2 years in a row where right before the bye week, the Bills probably should have won the game because if you remember last year, the Bills played the Arizona Cardinals right before the bye week, and that's when that Hail Mary happened. And
Oh,
right
interesting.
before that, Josh had just let them down in like a killer touchdown. Like the pass he threw to Stephon Diggs on that one should have won the game. And that should have been the one that everyone's like, oh man, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. But instead, it turns into some fluky Hail Mary play. And then this week, Josh Allen drives them all the way down to probably the 6-yard line, maybe? No. They were close.
I think it was the 3, right?
They were close. They were
close.
They were within the 5-yard line.
Yeah, because he tried to sneak it. I think it was at the 3-yard line.
It was close. Yeah. And what's crazy is I think they had another timeout left in hand. It's 4th and like maybe half a yard, and Sean McDermott elects to go for it on 4th down instead of kicking the ball because that probably brings them to overtime. And Sean McDermott was going for the win. He's like, he pretty much said, he's like, and everybody, all the teammates agreed, was like, you should put the ball in your best player's hand. And everyone's like, 17 is the best player in the team, so why not put it in his hands? And everything that could have gone wrong in that play probably went wrong because Josh Allen has been almost automatic with those his entire career. The one other time it was failed is because it was botched snap. So, like, when something goes wrong with those plays, like, otherwise, like, he's probably getting it. And even with everything that went wrong with, like, the left side of the line, he maybe could have gone to the other side. If he had the right footing, he probably gets it. The fact that his foot slipped is, like, pretty telling. But he probably gets it if it doesn't slip. But then also, like, the left guard and left tackle just got completely blown up on that play. Like, the other team just, like, everyone knows when you're in that position that you're going to do a QB sneak. It's not like some revelation where the other guys were like, oh, we knew they were going to do it. Well, no kidding. Like, you're going to go a half yard. Why would I turn around?
Now, here was my thought, though. The one thing that I had to kind of like, okay, if there was anything about this game that I would have liked to have seen changed, what would it be? Because I thought it was a good game. I thought that, you left it on the field. You had two teams playing against each other. The Bills do have some, issues with stopping the run, but frankly, anybody who goes against Henry is having trouble stopping the run. I mean,
right. There's only 2 teams in the league that run that kind of offense with like the firepower at running back. Because most teams in the league, we've talked about several times, like it's a passing league. The way the Tennessee Titans and the Cleveland Browns run their offense is through their running backs. And so, honestly, Henry's a beast. Like, this guy, most of the time, running backs, you get like their initial contract and like they're done. This guy's on his second contract. I think he's been in the league for 5 years at this point, and he touches the ball more and more and more. And I think I saw that like he's ahead of like LaDainian Tomlinson at this point in his career. So like that's how good this guy is.
So I want to bring into question. The actual play call, right? Not of the QB sneak, but of the first one when they used kind of the trick play for the 2 points, right?
Yeah.
In my head, I was like, oh, if they could have held that play until the end, they win.
Yeah, it's funny. I think leading up to it and to this game, a lot of people on the Twitter sphere, and I've been thinking it too, that we haven't seen a lot of trick plays. And a lot of people on Twitter sphere were like, man, Dawson Knox is from Tennessee. He's a former quarterback. Like, I wonder if they get him to throw the ball in this game or something. And it's funny because that's what they end up doing. But I almost wonder, too, if the Bills are, because they know they're such a good team, maybe they're not putting it all out there. You know what I mean? That way there's stuff ready for the playoffs. Does that make sense? Like, maybe I don't know.
Does. It does, and it sort of doesn't. I've been really kind of like thinking about this. Like, I don't know that you can be the best in your position whatever that position is, and maybe it's easy enough to see in, let's say, top fuel dragsters, right, where they literally leave the entire engine out on the at the end of a quarter mile, right? So it's all about maximum power, maximum performance during the entirety of your necessary, 100 yards, 60 minutes, quarter mile, whatever it is. Yeah. So I don't know that you play a regular season game with anything other than put it all out there, because every play you're supposed to beat the play before.
I know, but I just keep wondering if, because now this is fourth year of Josh Allen and Brian Dable together, where it's their playbook is so robust at this point, where it's we can afford to maybe only show 70% of our playbook.
Oh, I think I do think that the playbook is always withheld, sort of until later in the season. Also,
that's what I'm saying. Because, which I don't know how I got on this, because I just going back to the creativity of that play. That's really awesome, and I think at that point it warranted. Honestly, I think Josh Allen probably could have just kept the ball and ran into the end zone himself.
Sure, and which is what that was the week before. Right, so they set. Remember not this past week, but the week before, he sort of had that one where it was I can run in, I can throw it. It was there was no stopping him.
That's why I'm wondering, that 4th and 1 play. I don't think it's smart. If you're a half a yard away, you don't want to bring the ball backwards. You know what I mean? If it's right there.
Okay, so now let me kind of come the other side. I would normally agree with that, except for. One of the things that makes Henry unstoppable is because he's got weight and momentum. You give Josh weight and momentum, he might actually push a little bit.
Well, the other side of that, and one of the things that I was thinking, putting the ball in the hands of the person who, the best person on the team, you're right in that. But he's also, he's big, he's good at running and stuff. But if you're going to give it to somebody like that, he has a bullet of an arm on the inside. You come out and you try to, why would you just limit it to him going up the center with that Tennessee line? In my mind, is why wouldn't you let him step back so that he can try to outrun these defenders that are coming at him, give himself a little bit of an opening? He's got Dawson, he's got Emmanuel Sanders, he's got Diggs, and all of these guys, he's got some great targets right now that he's hitting, especially Dawson Knox lately.
What I think is kind of become most fun about being a Bills.
Well, he was injured. If you don't, he actually was, Dawson Knox was not on the field for that play. He was not on the field for the last drive because I guess he fractured his hand. And his hand was fractured on that 2-point conversion.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, okay.
There was there was video of Josh Allen before that call, and he's no, trying to wave up to tell Brian Dable, don't make that call. Oh, and Dawson Knox is just I got it. Even though he has a fractured hand.
Wow.
So I recall, that I didn't realize that that's what was going on at that point in time. But one of the things I was going to say is kind of in the idea of going for the win, right? I think we're all saying, right call at the end, go for the win. And what's kind of fun is that what we get to kind of question right now are, could a really good play have been done better? Right?
Yeah.
So, pretty much that's
honestly,
what we're talking.
I think it's the right play call, though, because I think it was just poor execution.
100% right. Exactly, right? Everything about that, and it's the foot slipped. So, great, right?
It has over a 90% success rate for the Bills. Why would you not go to a play that has worked so many times for you?
Right.
And if you look at, there's so many camera views, there's one specifically up above it, and I think it's on Josh Allen to recognize that the way the Titans were aligned within their defensive front, there was 4 guys, and you had Simmons and whoever that other guy was, I don't know, on the left-hand side, pinched in. So it should have been on Josh to recognize that, I think the right side. Because if you watch the video, the right side of the line, gets the push you need. He chose to go to left, and that's a tendency that he needs to break, because that's a tendency.
It's actually interesting you say that, because that was a conversation that came up early in the game by the I believe it was that game. It was like, oh, if there's anything, Josh goes to the left. And I find that interesting because that's the second week in a row where sort of
been pointed out.
The script has been followed, which is very interesting.
It's interesting. I never really realized, but the analysts that were on ESPN all night kept talking about how, like, if you can just get Josh to roll out to his left, he really struggles to throw out to his left. So if you notice, quite frequently the Titans were able to get him to, even on the play before that 4th down one, they got him to go out to his left. And Cole Beasley maybe could have been open to the end zone. It's a tough throw for him to make coming from the left, but it's just interesting, all the nuances. And Josh made a comment that was like, there's those, like last week, he made a comment that said, like, there's those that get figured out and those who figure it out. And so I think that's something he does good. He's good self-scout, so I think he'll figure it out. It was a good game. It's just a bummer that they didn't win. It would have been fun to see him win that one, though.
Yeah,
and I can't blame McDermott. I mean, I don't think they win that in overtime. The defense wasn't stopping anything.
Right. Again, I mean, you're trying to stop a Mack truck all night.
Yeah.
Like, here, thank you. What's that one from back in the day? Like, thank you, brother. Let me have another. Like, okay, let's just go in for another quarter of getting running over.
Yeah, it was insane.
I think you and I briefly talked about this, that we also did not bring on the roster some of our the depth in our defensive end. And
I don't know why they did that. Like,
so I think the argument was to kind of put some more heavy weight up the middle to stop Henry, right? Well, so okay, fair enough. But there was a question about the idea that Tannehill apparently was one of the most sacked QBs in the NFL.
Yeah, that's what's so weird. They didn't even get, like, I think they hit him twice.
Right. So that was kind of like that one analyst, I was like, that's an interesting insight that I would never have really known anything about. But effectively, that there was a coaching choice to try to put some, let's say, meat up the middle and, take the pressure off Tannehill. And, maybe that pressure on Tannehill may have changed the game up a little bit more, because we did see that, there was the interception, and we know that the Bills defense thrives on interceptions and pressure, right? And we didn't get the pressure, so we're not going to get as many turnovers. And frankly, one more turnover changes that game also. And not for anything, like, everybody did their job. That's the other side of this, right? Yeah. Like,
well, I was just going to say is they were still put up over 30 points.
Right, exactly right.
You're right, that's what I'm saying. Is like,
against a great defense.
Yeah.
So, they did really good. Tennessee's just had their numbers for their number for a couple of years.
So, I think, though, going,
I was
like...
listening to, so the Bills have, like, kind of constructed their defense to beat, like, the Kansas City Chiefs of the world, not, like, power run offenses like the Titans and the Browns. And so I was listening to something where it said, like, something as simple as, like, linebackers. When you're facing an offense that has, like, Derrick Henry, your first 2 steps are towards the line of scrimmage. Whereas, like, if you're facing Patrick Mahomes, it's just, like, a one and react. But once you've gotten, like, what the Tennessee Titans were really able to do in the second half of that game is because after Derrick Henry, like, rammed through them the entire night, they pretty much were just like, oh, yeah, we have, like, 2 really good receivers on the outside, like Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. So they're like, oh, we can do play action. And at this point, the linebackers just kept biting on it. Therefore, there was just so much room after the linebackers have done, like, their 2 steps, biting on the play action, and then having to react to that, as opposed to just, like, a quick, like, one react and bail out.
I think, like, that kind of an analysis of the game is awesome, because it truly is allowing... I don't think about the idea that we're literally talking a step in one direction or the other before the play arrives at me, right? Yeah. Like, it's like... But that's exactly what these professionals are doing, is they're taking a step or 2 in preparation for what they foresee is coming at them.
And you have a millisecond to respond.
Yeah, right. So you're talking like, you're probably talking, what is it, like an average play is probably 5 to 7 seconds long?
Yeah.
So
and these guys are responding
in a second,
instantaneously.
like, they're scanning the field and trying to figure out the offensive and the defensive.
When you watch them go after an interception and stuff, just how quickly they have to respond sometimes in those situations. Some of these guys, I mean, it's absolutely incredible. I think one of my most enjoyable things about watching the NFL is these guys are extremely talented, and they make some amazing plays where they're reaching for it, and you're like, how did he catch that? Or
one of the fun plays that, like, I was like, okay, I liked that Josh did what he did when he hit he threw the ball, went off the helmet, went sky up in the air, and then Josh jumps as high as he can and bats it down. I was like, I actually very much like that play. Because I just saw, like, our 6 foot, what is he, 6'6" quarter? How big is Josh?
6'7" or something.
Yeah.
Like, I just saw our 6'7" guy jump as high as he could, just do the right thing in that moment. And you're like, man, he is a big guy who can get up in the air. Right?
See, what I thought with that, I'm like, man, if this was rookie Josh Allen, he'd try to make a play with that. As opposed
that's exactly
to
right. Yeah. That's why I liked that piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really like him as a player.
What's that?
I just really like him as a player. He's just a lot of fun to watch.
He is.
Yeah. I've been watching some of the mic'd up and some of the behind the scenes, and I don't know if you've been watching that, Sierra, but oh my gosh, Stefon Diggs, like, he is so funny. He's like a comedian on the sidelines, and it's really a lot of fun listening to him talk to the different players and listening to him do the interviews and stuff. That's been fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
All right. So let's talk about this. Now let's bring this into, like, winning, right? Like, going for the win. We've talked in the past about not staying down too long, like that you've got to get up after the next play. You've got to, continue to learn from that. So, tell us, Sierra, how do you go for the win in life and in the marketplace?
Oh, in life and the marketplace?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I can't answer. I don't even know how to answer that one.
For
but
life.
I think it's just I think it's just like in terms of going for the win in life, it's it's being confident in the decision you're making because you know what your ability is and the likelihood of it happening. And in the off chance it doesn't happen, that doesn't necessarily, it is what it is, and you just get back up and go after it again. So just to relate it back, Josh Allen messes a play up that, like, he would get 9.8 times out of 10. And something fluky happened and he doesn't get it. That doesn't really mean very much in the scope of how their season's going to turn out. It's one loss. I mean, it sucks, but it's one loss. And you just got to bounce back and keep going for it, I think it's just, I think everybody having the confidence in yourself and then knowing that other people have the confidence in you. Move forward.
Yeah, and the good news is we have a bye to kind of think about things. And kind of come back into 3 hopefully fairly solid straight games that we should have the upper hand in. Should.
Yeah.
I think what you just said there at the end, Sierra, is really the big part about the going for the win. I think it's that the organization, the people around you, the people on your team, the ones who want to win with you, actually said, yeah, we are going for the win because we trust you to win. And as soon as that doesn't execute as it would 95% of the time, that game was over. That scoreboard reflected the reality of that measure. But I think nobody on that team carries forward that loss for any length of time. And instead, they carry forward a greater belief in themselves as an organization. And I think that the defense gets an opportunity to really now sit back and say, you know what? We let the offense down.
Well, yeah, and I think it's like you look back, and if you're going to apply it to life or to this game, like not one single moment does not define
Yeah.
what that win or loss is. So like they didn't get a 4th and 1, but guess what? They at the beginning of the game they had 2 straight drives that they drove all the way into the red zone and
That's
didn't
right.
convert it. So
Yeah,
like,
while watching
Yeah.
the game, I kept making those. I'd make a comment like to Justin, like, "All right, now they need to strike back," and they would strike back. And I guess I want to just kind of clarify what I was just saying a moment ago. I heard some people talking about how this loss is on Josh's shoulders, and I 100% appreciate. No. I 100% appreciate that this is his burden because he was given it to win. He didn't get it done. He doesn't deny that it was his to get done. As we're saying here, 95% of the time, he's getting it done. But what I'm clarifying here is that the team doesn't say, Josh, this loss is on you.
Yeah.
The team says, as a defense, we'll do our job better. And I know the next time, 95% of the time, you get it. So we're good the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, as long as you keep doing what you do, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and to kind of add on to that, one of the things was it Coach Carter, I think it is, on Apple TV, or it's the guy who goes over to England, takes over a soccer team. He was a college football coach. Really great show, great premise. We started watching it, and he actually makes a comment. He's like, one of his players starts getting really frustrated and starts getting in his own head and can't really complete the plays and stuff. And he's like, he goes, the best thing you can do is be a goldfish. You know why you can be the best thing you can be as a goldfish? Because goldfish has no memory.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you just got to forget and move on. But you also want to reflect and be like, okay, what can I do better?
Well, exactly. Of course.
Yeah, and
but you can't let it linger in your head in a negative way. You got to look at it.
It's just part of the job.
Yeah.
It's just part of the job, right? Yeah. That's just like, no different than getting up and, if I've got to deliver the donuts, I've got to go make the donuts, right? Like, it's just part of the job to do that stuff. And again, I think what I take away from this week is, and we've talked about it from the point of view of fans, is like how emotionally invested you are into the team. And a lot of us are. And, you've got to sort of measure that because it is just a game. But there's not a concern amongst the fans. There's not there's just a confidence that's still there. And that's kind of what we're talking about earlier in the season, is that the fans have to kind of come into alignment now with the team. And you just generally feel that, okay, time to go forward and win.
Yep.
Well, they were half the stadium in Nashville.
Yeah. I wish I was there.
And I heard, and I'm not sure how true this is, but I heard that the main strip there, Broadway was like more than half of the bars were filled with more than half of the Bills fans.
I imagine that's that's probably absolutely sure. I'm gonna guess that
the atmosphere.
I think Nashville would be a lot of fun.
It's a destination.
It's like on Sundays, right? Like whenever the team, it would just be that, I think, every week.
Yeah.
It's like you have a reason to go to Nashville. It's like probably not quite the same with, let's say, the Saints, but that kind of idea. Yeah. Like you have a destination.
No, I think a lot of people might go to New Orleans too.
Yeah.
I'm just
thinking.
I
play in Las Vegas. There's good. I think there'll be quite a few people in Las Vegas too. They don't play him this year, but whenever they play him again,
sure,
people show
be
up.
allowed in there.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, that is going for the win as we prepare to win with Schmub.
Yes.
All right. Bye, honey.
All right.
Talk to you next week.
See ya. Good night.
All right. Wait a second. Close it out.
Do you think that now? Am I going to get
We're still on, just so you know.
That's fine. Am I going to get I appreciate that. That was that Dawson. Hey, I'm mic'd up, so we're good. I'm wondering, am I going to get our videos flagged because I just called her honey? Am I allowed to call my daughter honey?
I don't want to get into that.
We probably just got flagged. Probably that's it. We're done.
Pretty soon we're going to have to come
fact
out.
Checked.
Yeah.
Against community standards.
Against, are you allowed?
Speaking affectionately, anyways. All right. Well, all right. That was good tonight. That was fun. Hopefully, anybody who tuned in is
they were able to hear us,
and maybe learn. You know,
there for a little while, I kind of noticed it was looking a little Halloweeny, where it was like had like a glow. We were white. It was kind of funny.
That's all fine. It works, right? Like this is kind of fun.
I was just kind of playing around with it, so I apologize for anybody who might have got like weird things going on because of the playing with the colors and
just
stuff.
The metaverse happening.
Yeah, it's all of that riveting production.
So that's what this would be. It's the metaverse filter, right? Like that's kind of what we're doing there.
Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, all right. Well, I guess we're good. We can shut down, and hopefully you learned something or enjoyed something.
Oh, and just in case anybody missed that during this episode, we will not be on tonight with the Pirates. Maverick IO will not be on. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that we cleared that up so that if you're looking for Maverick IO coming up next, we're not going to go live. We're gonna call it an early night. And
Jake, our thoughts, prayers with you, your family. Sorry to hear of your loss. Always difficult times, but
looking forward to connecting next week, maybe. Hopefully.
Yep. Hopefully next week we'll get back to that.
And then we'll learn about the surprise that we actually did a good job earlier, kind of foreshadowing and luring, like giving a little bit of
talking about
at the beginning of Unencrypted.
What was the beginning of Unencrypted?
When we were talking about Jake and we were talking about Blackbeard and what he was on.
Oh yeah. We'll have a little bit more there, and maybe we can find out a little bit more about Pirate Coin.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah, we'll know more about that next week. So
all right.
Enjoy the night, or whatever it is.